Hi everyone, Victoria Jennings here, and this is Taking Care of Business, proudly brought to you by Entrepreneurs Building Success. Welcome everyone. This morning, I wanted to talk to you about um, revenue feels good, but profit feels better. So, the operational fix your business needs. I find that a lot of entrepreneurs, particularly coaches, are really good at getting the revenue in, but they're not very good at keeping the money for themselves. They're not very good at making profit, good at making revenue, but when it comes to profit, they don't even know that they're leaking um, profit. In a lot of cases, not all cases, but a lot of the people that I've been speaking with, this is absolutely happening out there. We want to help entrepreneurs move from high revenue stress to true profitability by identifying the operational leaks and aligning your business structure to the 7 steps to growth. Um, this is about understanding, you know, how revenue and profit works. And I'm going to get into that in a little bit more detail later on during this session. If you've got any questions, please write them down in the comments. Let me know that you're here and say hi, and also where you're from, and or if you're watching me on the replay, I'd love to know. Okay, so let me ask you this: are you making money but you're not keeping it? So it comes in, you pay the bills, and you go into the bank account, and you're no better off than where you started in the beginning of the month. That's who I'm talking to. If that's you, then this session is for you. All right. So you get it in, but you spend it all, and you're not creating profit, which is how we can grow the business. We need profit to grow the business. You're working harder than ever before. Usually, this is when you're a sole entrepreneur. This happens. The sales are coming in. You're getting clients, but somehow the bank account doesn't show it. The balance doesn't show it, right? So that's not a hustle problem, because some people think, I've got to work harder, I've got to reach out more, I've got to do more. That's not what's going on. This is often an operational problem. Okay, it's how you've structured your business, it's the model of your business, particularly the model of your finances. Okay, so first of all, what is revenue? So, revenue is what the money that comes in, the total money that comes in from your sales. Okay, and that's great. And a lot of people think that that's what I live off. That's what I have to live off. Well, no, you don't, because all these expenses have to come out of that. All of the expenses to run your business, all the expenses for your advertising to get to your ideal client, all of that. And if you're not spending, if you're doing it organically, then you are spending your time doing that, or you're paying for someone else's time to do that. So that's got to come out of the money that comes in. So you really need to know how much your offers are actually making. What's the balance between money coming in and money going out? So out of your offer, your premium offer that you're selling to clients, when you take away all of the expenses, first of all, you have to know what those expenses are, and then you have to divide those expenses up between each product that you sell. Okay, then you know if you're being profitable or not, but you won't know if you're being profitable or not till you work all that out. And that's like running your business with a blindfold on. It's not a good place to be. So profit is what you keep after all those expenses have been taken out. Now, in the beginning of business, the profit is usually what we live off in the beginning before we're paying ourselves a salary. You want to get to pay yourself a salary as quickly as possible in the business. so that it becomes part of the expenses and you're not taking it out of the profit. Okay. You've also got to allow for taxes as well, because taxes have to come out of all of this too. And you're taxed on the profit that you make. So your sales are coming in, your expenses are going out. What's left over is your profit, and the tax man says, hey, hang on, thanks very much. I would like 30% of that as well, please. So don't end up at the end of the financial year owing that money to the tax man. Make sure you're deducting that as you go as well and putting it in a separate account so that it's not a massive shock when it comes and hits you in the face. Otherwise, you'll be having to get a loan from the tax office and then pay 15% interest on that as well. Okay, I'm not a financial expert. I am not. All right, definitely not. So you still need to get your financial expert advice from somewhere, not me, from somewhere else. I'm just giving you, because I struggled with this myself for many years, and still do sometimes, right? I thought it would be good for me to just give you some clues, simple clues, as to what you can do to make sure you're profitable. Okay. All right. Cash at bank is not profit. I said that, it's revenue. Okay. Revenue is really sexy, and it's what most other, well, not most other, a lot of coaches, consultants, courses are focused on, is getting the sales in the door. But that's only half the story. Not even half, it's a quarter of the story. You've got to have other things in place to make sure you're profitable, to make sure that you are making money from the offer that you are selling at the price you are selling it. You have to make sure there's money to pay the expenses coming out of that, and money to pay you coming out of that, and money for profit to build the business coming out of that. You can't get to a point where you can engage with other people to help you. That is, whether they're employed or whether they're outsourced, a team to help you. You can't get to that place unless you're making profit. And your profit has to keep increasing so that you can keep increasing that investment back into the business in the beginning, so that you can grow it further, so that you can make more money. Okay. But revenue seems to be what a lot of coaches tell you need to create, and then they don't tell you how to make it profitable. They don't tell you what to look for to make it profitable. They just focus on the sales piece or the marketing piece, right? But there's more than that happening. So where does profit disappear to? Well, there's usually 4 operational leaks. The first one is over delivery without structure. So reinventing the wheel for every client, customization for every client, one-on-one coaching sessions for every client. That's not scalable. That's burnout potential big time. Okay. So, they should be the premium clients that pay $100,000, $150,000 a year to you. And you only take on a few, you don't take on many. Okay. Because that's how you can turn that into profit, by it being a VIP offer that you provide, right? Team inefficiency, no clear roles, poor delegation, or you're doing it all yourself and suffering from what I call octopus syndrome, juggling everything, dropping things, and everything sucks, right? So that's another place you've got to plug things in. Often the team roles, if they're not clear, then the team don't know what they've got to do. They don't know what their accountabilities are. Team has to have accountabilities, not responsibilities. They've got to be accountable for their actions, accountable for their productivity. If you don't have that in place, you're going to have issues, because they won't know exactly what they're supposed to be doing for you. And poor delegation, you're delegating to the wrong people who don't have, perhaps they're not working in their genius zone, so they're not giving you the highest productivity levels that they could be if they were working in their genius zone. All right, and that's where our profiling tool comes in, because you can double check all of that with you. Okay, it could be that you have marketing mayhem going on, which is spending time and money without knowing what converts. So you could be spending a lot of time on organic marketing, but you're still trying to work out what actually does work, but you're not recording it anywhere. You're just doing it. So you can't see any patterns. So you just keep repeating the same thing over and over and over again. Okay. And you've got to know how it's converting. So which are the things that are working the best? Which posts have been really good and got great engagement? Which posts haven't? Why are you getting crickets? All of those things. If you're doing advertising, then you need to know, you need to make tweaks, and you need to document those tweaks, and also document what happened after you made those tweaks. Were there more clicks? Were there more likes? Was there more engagement? And did you have more conversion sales out of it? So you need to be analyzing all of these things as well. And the other thing that can be a leak is cash flow chaos. So not tracking what's working. Again, your pricing could be misaligned. Your price might be too low and leaking profit that way. Your pricing might be too high and no one's engaging at all. So you've got to make tweaks to see where the sweet spot is, right? And you're paying everyone else first before you pay yourself. You really in your business need to pay yourself first, always. So you should be working out what your monthly profit is and make sure you take that out of your business every month, if you want to take it out, or reinvest it. So usually you reinvest a percentage of that. You reinvest a percentage of that back into the business. But you want to be taking your profit out, because that's how you create your own wealth. If you're not making profit, you're not building your business to make you wealthy. You've just bought a job. And we want business to be a vehicle to wealth creation, don't we? All right. So, I mean, that's what I'm all about. That's what I teach. That's why I'm here. That's what I did. So, you don't need more hustle. You need healthy operations that protect your profit. You need to know what your profit is, first of all, foremost, so that you can work out exactly what I said before, how much profit you can take out and how much percentage of profit you'll keep in the business to keep continually growing the business. Okay. And then the 7 steps to growth. So how do you turn this around? Okay. How can operations drive profitability? Well, there's 7 steps to growth that I've identified. And the first one is strategy. So you've got to have the right strategies in place, number 1. You've got to have a good business plan. That's a strategy. You've got to know what your offer is, what value it provides, and who it's for, and what are their pain points, and where do they hang out, and how do we get our message out to that market. That's number 1. Number 2, marketing. You've got to have marketing working effectively. So attracting the right clients or customers for you through lead generation activities. You've got to have that working at its optimum level. Again, the way to do that is through evaluation, looking at the numbers, breaking everything down and seeing what's working and what's not working, getting rid of what's not working and focusing on what is working. Okay, sales, converting marketing into cash. So is that happening at the level you want it to be happening at? If you want more sales and you've worked out the marketing, then you can just increase those marketing activities in lead generation, so that if you're talking to people to make sales, for example, then you're getting more people into the pipeline so that you can be speaking to more people, so you can be converting more sales. Whatever's working, you amplify. Okay. And then you need a team. So you need to be building a business that will free up your time so that you can work in your genius area more, whatever that genius area happens to be. And you can't do that without a team. You're going to be doing everything and you're going to suffer burnout. And eventually you're just going to think, oh, this is all too hard. I just can't keep doing this anymore. I'm working harder than I ever did, harder than when I worked for someone else. If that's you, then you need a team. Urgently. But you've got to get the business to a certain point before you can afford a team. Okay? And that comes down to strategy again. It's got to be in the strategy. Then we look at delivery and execution. So how to fulfill your promise. Because if you can't fulfill the promise that you've made to the clients that you have, you can't fulfill the promise to new clients coming in. So you have to fix the ones that you currently have and fix the offer that you currently have to make sure all of your clients are happy and satisfied. And they'll do that by referring you to other people without you even asking them to do that. That's when you know you've hit the nail on the head. Okay. And it's got to be, the delivery and execution's got to be repeatable and done in a timely manner. And if you're juggling all these balls yourself on your own, I guarantee you that can't happen. It can't happen. You'll be falling down in some area, and it will be your challenged areas, not your sweet spots, not your genius zone, but it will definitely be in your challenged areas. That's where you'll be falling down. That's where you need help. That's where you need team. Okay. And then money, you'll be managing your cash flow, you'll be making profit, and you'll be pricing it, all of your offers at the right price point, and you'll be able to pay all of your bills and have money over to grow the business and to pay yourself. Okay? The sooner you can get yourself onto a salary, the better. As I said, that's so important because I didn't do that for a long time and I wasted a lot of money by not doing that. Because an expense comes out of your revenue, doesn't come out of your profit. So you want to be an expense on the business so that you can be more profitable. Does that make sense? Because if you take it out of profits, you've already paid tax on it. It could have come out of expenses, which would have helped lower your profits a little bit, but you wouldn't have had to pay tax on it. Okay? But again, get advice. I'm not the person to give you this sort of advice in detail. And everyone is in a different, unique situation. So you do need financial advice. You do need an accountant. You do need a bookkeeper as quickly as you possibly can get them as well to make sure all of this works. Okay? And then you need systems. Number 7 is systems. So you need to automate as much as you possibly can. You need to be using ChatGPT as much as you possibly can. Okay? Any technologies that you need needs to be sorted, and you also need to document your processes because that's going to set your business up for when teams come on board, and it's also going to set you up if you ever want to sell the business, because it becomes part of your operations manual and it makes your business extremely valuable. So start documenting those things now, all the processes that you use. And then also you've got to look at quality improvement. So every cycle you go through, which is normally a 12-month cycle, is a business plan. Okay. So we normally work in 12-month cycles because their financial year is a 12-month period as well. So you want to look at what the cycle was like. You want to be evaluating it as you go and have the improvements put in place ready for the next cycle that's coming around. Because if we don't improve, we don't grow either. Okay. So every one of these steps that I've just mentioned above holds profit or leaks it. So you need to look at everything, analyze everything, and see where your leaks are. Your business model must address the 7 steps that I just went through so that you don't stay stuck on step 3, which is sales, and you think everything is about sales, okay? And you keep spinning your wheels and you keep doing that month after month after month, not getting anywhere, okay? So profit boosting actions that you can take today. You can audit your expenses, number 1. So you can look for silent killers of profit. So these are all the things like all the automatic payments that come out off your credit cards. Go through them, make sure you're not paying it twice, having signed up to something twice. Make sure that you are actually using all of the technology that you're paying for. Okay, because there are a lot of things we forget that we've put in place. We use them, like for example, in my other business, in my college, IPS Institute, we've had sales teams, we've had different people coming in, going out. They wanted to use, someone wants to use HubSpot, another person wants to use, I don't know, ActiveCampaign, and then we find we're still paying subscriptions for the ones that we're no longer using. Okay, so things like that can be, where you're leaking money. So make sure you look at for all of those things. Simplify your delivery. Where you can, you template or you batch your brilliance. So even if you're offering one-on-one coaching, start to offer one-to-many coaching. Start to do group coaching, because that can give you some time back. Okay? Start making courses for all the core things that you might be going over constantly with your one-on-ones. Make a course out of it that they can watch without you going through it. Things like that save time and build money and build wealth. All right. Implement profit first. As I said before, pay yourself first. Make sure you've got a salary and pay yourself dividends. But you've got to know your numbers to be able to do that. And I recommend you do that every month, because if you do it and leave it for the end of the financial year, you may have had a profit of, let's say, I don't know, $100,000, let's keep it easy, a profit of $100,000, okay? But when you go to pay yourself that profit, there's no money in the bank. So you've got to make sure you're taking that money out every month so that you don't have that situation occur, which I had occur many, many times in the beginning. There was never enough money in the bank to pay the profit. And I would leave it for a 12-monthly cycle. So all of these things that I'm telling you and telling you to do are the mistakes that I've made over the years. And that's why I'm sharing it and paying it forward so that you don't make the same mistakes that I made. Okay? And then, do a self-assessment. Which one of those steps that I mentioned before are you stuck on? And focus on the step that you're stuck on, so that you can get unstuck and free up the business and get it moving into momentum again. Okay, I hope this little thing has been helpful for you, giving you some insights about what you should be focusing on in your business and what it means, and maybe have a look at things that you haven't had a look at before. And do it on a regular basis. Every month you need to be doing this. Okay, so that you don't end up in a bit of a pickle. And also don't forget to pay your taxes. Otherwise you end up with a debt and you're paying interest on it as well. So that's how you bleed money. The interest is bleeding money if you're paying that back to the tax man. Things like that. Just having your attention to those details save you money and put that money in your pocket, not theirs. And that's what it's about, to put as much money into your pocket as possible. Okay, that's why we have a business. Otherwise we have a job, like I said before, and I would rather work for someone else than have all the headaches that come with running your own business and all the risk that comes with running your own business. If you only want a job, go work for someone else. It's a lot easier. A lot easier and a lot less worry. You know that your salary is going to be there every week. When you've got a team, you're worrying about how you're going to pay your team every month, right? I take that responsibility very seriously. Okay, so you've got to make sure your business is at the right stage before you recruit someone, before you get a consultant on to help in certain areas, yeah, before you outsource. So it's funny, but I got a program that goes into all of this in a lot of detail, and it's called Roadmap to Millions Bootcamp. Okay, these are the things that we sort out. That's why it's called a boot camp, because we actually do work, we do evaluate, we do things in the business that maybe we never knew about before. All right, I put a pair of glasses on everyone with 4 lenses, so you'd see the business through strategy, communication, implementation, and systems. Okay, that's what I do. And until you understand that, well, I should say, until I understood this, I was running my business blind, with a blindfold on, and I wasn't making the profit that I could have. And if I had have known this earlier than I did, I would not have made nearly the number of mistakes that I did, and it wouldn't have cost me as much money as it did. I left money on the table for years not understanding this. Years and years and years. I couldn't get my business into momentum for years and years and years because I had to figure it all out myself. So I've got the shortcuts. Do yourself a favor and get the shortcut, because you're going to save so much time and so much money. Okay? But if you're ready to stop being confused about where you might be bleeding profit and what actually makes you wealthy, then I've got a wonderful thing called a business health checklist, and you can go through that checklist and tick off what you've already got in your business and focus on the things that are missing in your business to get it to the next level. And it happens to be aligned with the 7 steps on the ladder of wealth as well. Okay, so just comment checklist down below, and we'll make sure you get a copy of that as soon as possible, so that you can go through and check your health of your business right now. It will help you do that. And yeah, and if you're interested in the Roadmap to Millions Bootcamp, then also please reach out, and you can book a call, and I'll let you know if it's suitable for you or not. And I will let you know if it's not. If you don't need it, I will let you know you don't need it. Definitely. And you can ask other people who have to talk with me. But I'm very open about that. I don't want people to be coming here working with me who don't need what I do. Okay? I really don't want that. I want people who need this information to work with me, so I can show them the road. Get them on the highway and get them off those roundabouts. And bleeding profit is one of those roundabouts. Okay? All right, everyone. Thanks for being here. Really enjoyed seeing you here again. And I look forward to seeing you again next week at the same time on Thursday again. Have a good one. Bye.